Welcome to Jubilee 2025 Pilgrims of Hope, a podcast from the Catholic Courier celebrating this milestone year in the Universal Church with stories of faith and hope from around the Diocese of Rochester. Here's your host, Gina Capellazzi, digital content producer at the Catholic Courier.
This month, the Church in Rome is celebrating the Jubilee of Choirs as part of its Jubilee 2025 celebrations. And every November, the Global Church also celebrates Black Catholic History Month to recognize the contributions of Black Catholics. Immaculate Conception St. Bridget Church in Rochester is a Catholic community of the African American tradition. So for the November episode of Jubilee 2025 Pilgrims of Hope, Catholic Courier's staff writer Jennifer Burke talked with three members of the Immaculate Conception St. Bridget's community. Joanne Gordon and Ramona Moore talked with Jennifer about the gospel choir and liturgical dance group at Immaculate Conception, along with the events taking place for Black Catholic History Month. And then Joanne was joined by Lynn Fulmore. Both Joanne and Lynn are part of the Ladies Auxiliary of the Knights of Peter Claver, the oldest Black Catholic lay-led organization. So I now turn things over to Jennifer.
Thanks, Gina. So ladies, I'm so glad you're here with me today. I wanted to talk with you about National Black Catholic History Month in November, and I was wondering if you could kind of fill us in a little bit about how that started and what it's about.
Well, Black Catholic History Month officially started in July of 1990, and it was the Black Catholic Clergy Caucus that started that and designated November as the month for Black Catholic History Month because it's the month in which there are two notable Black saints, and one of them is Saint Augustine, who was the son of Saint Monica. One of the great fathers of the church, and so his feast day is in November. And also, St. Martin de Porres. Yeah, I wanted to say Peter Claver because that was on my mind. But Martin de Porres, and his feast day is also in November. So they thought that that was a perfect opportunity to sort of celebrate Black Catholics in the Catholic Church. And a lot of people think that Black Catholics are newcomers to the church, and that's not true at all. We go all the way back in the Bible. They talk about the deacon Philip meeting the Ethiopian eunuch on the road, and they had a long conversation, and he converted this eunuch, who is never named in the Bible. He converted him, and then he went back to Ethiopia to the king, and a whole conversion of that took place at that point. And that is really one of the pivotal points at which the Catholic Church became universal, because it went outside the boundaries of Jerusalem and where the original apostles had been. And so we were among the first people to be a part of the Catholic Church. And so we are very much so grounded in Catholicism.
I'm so glad you explained that. Thank you. I had wondered why November was chosen, and then I did not realize all that about the history, so that's pretty awesome. So, okay, very good. Are there events taking place during November to mark this special month, or other things people should know about?
Yeah, we have a list of things that, we're going to be celebrating at our church, Immaculate Conception St. Bridget's, but it will include the entire diocese. On November 1st, we're going to have a emergency preparedness training, and they'll be coming in at noon on November 1st to do that training. It's a wonderful program. I went a couple years ago. And on that same evening at 6 o'clock, the Voices of Thunder, which is a community men's choir, will be in concert. And we usually like to go as a group. So that'll be an outing for, some of our parishioners. On November 2nd, that Sunday, we celebrate All Saints, All Souls Day. And what we invite our parishioners to do is to bring in pictures of deceased loved ones, and the community prays for our deceased members. And, the pictures are on display and so forth. And so that we've been doing that for years, and it's something that the, parishioners appreciate. On November 7th, like I mentioned the Voices of Thunder, the Omega Select Choir, which is a fraternity, they too have a scholarship concert. And we've had some of our men, when we had a men's choir, sing in that particular choir. So they'll be in concert, and so some of us will go out and support that. November 8th, there's a program with the RPO, the Soulful Symphony, where gospel meets orchestra. That's going to be taking place November 8th at the Eastman Theater at 7:30. And so we have a group going to that. On November 9th, our liturgical dancers will be opening up Mass that day. And so we encourage our parishioners to, come and support them. On November 14th, David Shakes and the
North Star
players will be coming, and they will be doing, and you can explain a little bit more about what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, we have at this point 7 people who are on the road to sainthood. And so we call them the Saintly 7. Yeah. And David Shakes is going to do a presentation which is going to be drama, poetry, singing, along with the North Star players, in which he's going to be presenting the life of these 7 people, the lives of the 7. And so we think it's a wonderful opportunity because we want to keep that 7 out in front, because it's easy to get lost in the fray. Yes. And I think that people don't often understand and know how sainthood occurs, and that it's people, very ordinary people like us, that can have a role in, that happening. So we're excited about David taking this on as a project and to sort of put that out there in a different way.
Mm-hmm. And then on November 16th, the Knights and Ladies of Peter Claver, Ladies Auxiliary of Peter Claver, will be turning out that particular day. And Lynn will explain a little bit more about turnout. Okay. And we also have a mixed community, and we have a lot of Caribbeans in our parish. And so we have one of our parishioners, Penny Paris. She has a steel pan group, and they will be providing the music that day. So we try to, have a well-rounded month of activities for our parishioners.
Sounds like a great celebration.
Yeah. So it's open to everyone, so we invite everybody to come out and support it.
And the ones that are at church, they're at Immaculate Conception. Yes. And that is, what street is that on again? I forgot.
Frederick Douglass. Okay. Street.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. If people want to come. You mentioned that there will be an event with liturgical dance and choir. And how are you each involved?
I'm choir.
I'm
and
choir
she's choir and
liturgical dance.
Okay.
And years ago we had a very strong liturgical dance team, mostly with teenagers, and they actually would minister throughout the diocese. We've done several things at the cathedral, and, so they were really active at that point. They all grew up, have families of their own now. As they do. And so we're starting up the liturgical dance program again. And so they will be ministering on the 9th at the church. But liturgical dance is a form of prayer, and especially if it's not used as a performance, but as prayer. And we listen to the music and try to feel and understand what the music is saying, what the words are, and that's how we come up with our liturgical dances.
Would you say that's what separates it from, we're talking about using it as prayer and not as performance? Would you say that's the focus on the words and trying to kind of, is it a way of expressing the words?
It is,
okay.
very much so.
Okay.
And in our interpretation of what that prayer is saying, a lot of the music that they dance to and the songs, or we might sing something, is, prayer. It's part of the scriptures. So, they take that, they understand what the words are saying, and they interpret that into a dance.
Okay. It sounds like that probably for at least some people, or maybe a lot, would enhance their experience of the liturgy and being at Mass, kind of just connecting on another way, probably. Okay. Yes. And would you say the same thing about choir? I hear that the choir at Immaculate Conception is amazing. So, and you are both part of it, I think? Okay. And how long have you been in the choir?
Well, I've been in Immaculate for 54 years, and I've been in the choir the whole time.
Okay, all right. What about you?
I've been in the choir for about 37 years. Okay. I started because my son, he was invited to sing in a Christmas program, and he enjoyed it so much, and I was like, I've always wanted to sing, but I blend. She's a soloist.
Well, both are important. And what kind of got you motivated to join 54 years ago?
Well, when I came up here, I hail from Richmond, Virginia, and when I came to go to school here at the University of Rochester, one of the families from Immaculate Conception met me. I was doing this little program. I don't even remember why, but a friend of mine, we had this little thing that we used to do. She would read poetry and I would play and sing behind her. Okay. And so this family thought it was very good, and they approached me and they said, we wish you'd come to Immaculate and, do something like that at our church. So I ended up going there. And so the first day I walked into the church, I was sitting in the choir with them, and I just never left. And so it's been, wonderful. Music undergirds everything we do. In the African American population, music, movement, all that is just essential. It's key. And so what we have the opportunity to do at Immaculate is to utilize that music, that movement in all the various parts of the Mass. We try to undergird. We're not performing. We're undergirding what is going on in the Mass. So if we're at the introductory rites of the Mass, which is the first part, that is what we do. We are going to bring you into the church. We're going to invite you in. We're going to be joyful. We're going to be praising the Lord. We're, as the Bible says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. That's what we do with our music. And then we move on to when we have the liturgy of the word by doing psalms, by singing gospel acclamation. And then a little bit later on, doing parts of the Mass with song. So that's very important. And then when we get to the preparation of the gifts and setting the altar table and ultimately on to communion, all of that is very much so set in a musical setting, and our music reflects what is going on. We ask, feed us, Lord, feed us with your body, feed us with your blood. And, we move on from there. And then at the dismissal, right, we again invite people to go out into the world and tell the good news. What have you heard here? What have you felt here? What has happened to you because you've been in God's presence this way? And I would say that, for me, and a lot of folks, with Black people in general, music and going to church is a really very personal experience. We are not about theology and the theology of what's going on or anything. What we are about is our relationship with God. And that's really what it is all about. When we sing, the emotion we put in, the expression we put in it, the movement that we put in it, it all flows out of that we really believe that we have a real God here, that we are privileged to talk to have a relationship with. We really believe he loves us and we love him and we want to worship him. So it's a very personal experience. And even though you hear us very often talk in the first person, the I, what we're doing really is reflecting the community and how people are feeling. But when people are singing these songs, because it is in first person, it brings it home. And, you will look at our congregation, and according to what we're singing or doing, people will be crying. Yeah. And they're crying because it's expressing something that needs to come out. They are pleading with God for something. They are in a lower state and they want God to be there and to help them out of it. And so it all comes out like that. In the same token, you'll see people getting up dancing, waving their hands, clapping, because that praise is out. Something has happened. God has been so good. I need to praise you. I got to praise you with all I have, with all I am. And so that's really where all of our expressions come from. People sort of look around, what are they doing?
And you need to feel better than when you came into church. You need to go out feeling much better and feeling fed,
Literally.
Yeah.
I love the way you explained that. And I'm thinking that I think people might just think, if they didn't know, gospel choir, it's a type of music, a style, but it sounds like it's so much more than that. Absolutely. And I'm reminded of you talking about the opening rites and all that, and inviting people to enter in. It sounds like through the music, it's a personal experience that you're inviting everyone to enter in and experience on their own. So.
And in most, in a lot of Black Catholic parishes, we lead with a prelude. Mm-hmm. And that is just to get people centered and ready before the Mass itself begins. Mm-hmm. And so you want to get them centered and focused in on Christ. And we do that at our church. Mm-hmm.
And we do it also because one of the things with Black Catholics, we're coming from a lot of different places. Very few of us live anywhere near the church. And so when we come, it's our opportunity to see each other. So at the door, we're greeting each other, talking, laughing, whatever. So, okay, folks, we're here to worship. And so I think that prelude sort of brings the atmosphere together. This is what we're here for. And, we do that later, but we really come to worship. And, I think that as I was reflecting, very oftentimes you hear many Catholics talk about the obligation to go to church and to be at church. I don't feel obligated to be there or to be obliged to be there. I feel I want to be there. I want to come. And so what you'll see with our church is I've been to other churches where at the end of communion, everybody's out the door. At our church, nobody leaves. And I remember a priest coming and he said, they're still here. Yeah, because there's more to come, and we haven't finished with celebrating, with praising, with praying. And we are just happy to be here. This is our time with God. And so it's not, an obligatory thing that we have to be at. We want to be there.
That's beautiful. I love it. Thank you for sharing. So when we come back, we will be talking more about the Knights of Peter Claver.
Get the news in your inbox when you sign up for Catholic Courier e-newsletters. Stay up to date on Jubilee year 2025 and all the other news and events from the Diocese of Rochester with Monday e-news, Thursday weekend, and Saturday reflection emails. To sign up, email us at latestnews@catholiccourier.com.
So before the break, we were talking about the choir at Immaculate, and it sounds amazing. And that is a way that a lot of people have been involved in the parish. But another way that people are involved in the parish lately is the Knights of Peter Claver and Latest Auxiliary. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, a couple of years ago, during Black Catholic History Month, we wanted to bring in the chapter from Buffalo. And we had seen earlier, like in August of that year, the Knights and Ladies of Peter Claver at Congress. And, for years we had seen that, and God, I wonder what that's all about. And so we brought in the group from Buffalo to just come and give us some information, explain what it is that they do. And that piqued people's interest. And so they came and they gave us some guidance, and we decided that, we want to reinstate our chapter, because we did have a chapter here several years ago. And on May 17th, we began our journey with the group, and Lynn can
Wonderful.
continue.
Okay.
with that.
Okay, and I think when I said something about it being a way to be involved in the parish, it's not just for Immaculate parishioners, is that right? Okay, it's
Right.
more of a
Correct.
for the diocese, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And it's while it's very akin to Knights of Columbus, it's not exclusive for African Americans only. It's open to anyone who's a Catholic and good standing, men or women. So there's the official title is Knights of Peter Claver Ladies Auxiliary. That is the official title, and we are part of the Ladies Auxiliary. Currently, it is the largest fraternal Catholic order in the United States, with close to 18,000 members. Wow. Yes. There are just a handful of courts. So the men are chapter, women are courts. There's just a handful of courts in New York State, and we were happy to be reinstated back in May, as Joanne shared. To add to that, there are pretty close to 350 ladies auxiliary courts in the United States, with Hawaii just recently joining.
Wow, okay. Wow, very nice. All right. Why was this something that people wanted to bring back here? Why was this piquing the interest when you would run into them at conventions and congresses and things?
Well, I think it was part of it was curiosity. What are they doing? We would always see. Well, I know growing up, I always saw the Knights of Columbus. Didn't see any black folks in that. And as far as I knew, black people weren't allowed to be in that organization, and that's why the Knights of Peter Claver began. And so once people saw that, and they saw people who looked like them involved in this, there was an interest.
And that is true. Back when Knights of Peter Claver originally was just the Knights of Peter Claver, started in 1909, it was with the intention to be exclusive for people of color, because they were excluded from Knights of Columbus. But then, as things evolved, we felt, how we felt to be excluded. So it blossomed into opening up for everyone. And in 1926, which next year will be the 100th year anniversary of the women being included with the Women's Ladies Auxiliary, was started. And it's very akin to like a fraternity and sorority with many colleges. And we have a fellowship with each other. It's very different, as Joanne and Ramona explained, about how we fellowship and how we worship. You have a sisterhood. We have a sisterhood with our group of ladies. We have 12 in the inaugural class court with Rochester and our installation in May. And we are very much a sisterhood. And we understand that worship. That explanation that occurs sometimes in conversations we may have with non-Catholics of color, that doesn't occur. We all get it. We understand it. We speak the same language. So we can bypass all of that explanation and really just get into the sisterhood of life and challenges that we may have, both personally and spiritually.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. What kinds of activities do you do?
Well, part of our mission is to ensure that we are enriching our court, our community, and our church. So each year we try to plan activities that will speak to that mission. Fellowship and unity are definitely our top priorities. And so throughout the year this year we pick a cause every year that we will support, and Alzheimer's was certainly one of those this year. And we felt our work wasn't done. So we'll continue that on into 2026 with a number of workshops that will speak to how Alzheimer's affects our community, specifically the challenges that we may see,
And caretakers.
Yes, and
Yeah.
caretakers.
Yeah.
And what some of the struggles may be with lack of resources, supports for the family and the caretakers, and just what is life like with someone who is experiencing Alzheimer's, and how to incorporate ourselves into their world as opposed to expecting them to fit back into what we feel is the norm as they are changing, and the illness is really taking over their life.
And in our community, Alzheimer's is very prevalent. And so we felt that that was a good cause for us to begin with, something that we could relate to. I know my mother, she had Alzheimer's, and she lived with it for a number of years. And she passed away about 4 years ago, but we just felt really strongly about that. And we did the Alzheimer's walk, and we did very well as far as getting donations and pledges and so forth. We exceeded our goal. And like Lynn said, we wanted to continue that since, continue it for another year. And so we have those workshops, and those workshops are going to be over a span of 5 months, starting with this month, Black Catholic History, and going through March.
Yes. And it will be Empowering the Caregiver series, and it will start November 16th and will conclude in March. So anyone is welcome to attend. You don't have to be an Immaculate member. Anyone's welcome to attend. Or again, you don't have, not just Immaculate, but you don't have to be a part of Knights and Ladies of Peter Claver. You can certainly be anyone who's interested in learning more for yourself. At the time that I attended the first workshop that Joanne had brought to the church, I didn't have anyone in my life who was experiencing signs and symptoms, but learned so much. So when that did occur, I caught those signs early, just simply from having attended one workshop. I'm excited to see what 5 will unfold.
Yeah.
So I would encourage everybody to just reach out. We will have information on the bulletins. You can get our bulletin information online, and certainly sign up and just join us and learn more about it. So that's one of our initiatives. We are also planning a women's shelter baby shower.
Oh, that
Yes,
sounds great.
It's an idea. I can't take credit for the idea. Another court, as part of the Ladies Auxiliary, had done somewhat similar, and we thought, what a wonderful idea that we always think of donating items and goods for older children or moms, but what about those babies that are in need? So we'll have a collection later on this year, so stay tuned for that, just to collect items, diapers and whatnot, to donate to a women's shelter to help out those moms. We'll also have a school drive for school supplies for schools in need, and we hope to benefit some area elementary Catholic schools that students are in need, as we all struggle financially in some way.
Wow, you ladies are going to be very busy. Very good. It sounds like that's the goal, and it sounds like you enjoy it too. Very nice. So earlier, I think Ramona mentioned something about a turnout of the Knights of Peter Claver and Ladies Auxiliary. What does that mean?
Yes. So we have at minimum 3 turnouts a year. In November, we will have a turnout on the 16th, Sunday the 16th, in celebration of Founders Day, and those that started Knights of Peter Claver in 1909. Will turn out, and a turnout is when we come in full regalia. The men will have on their fez and sash, and the ladies as well. And typically the ladies wear all white, and the men are in suit and tie.
Wow, very nice. Okay, thank you for explaining that. And then when are the other 2 throughout the year? You said, I think there's 3?
Peter Claver Day is in September, and then in the Easter season we have a turnout as well.
Nice. All right, thank you.
And we support, of course, at the Bishop's invitation, additional events. There was a Mass for Life. Of course, we look forward to supporting any incoming priests or deacons. We're always at those special Masses as well.
Is there anything else about the Knights of Peter Claver and Ladies Auxiliary that I didn't ask about, or you want people to know about the group?
The doors are never closed. We're always looking for new members to join us. So just because we had our inaugural class in May doesn't mean that's it. Please call, reach out, join us. We have all ages, which is great. We currently are hoping to start a Junior Daughters, which are for the younger girls that then at 18 will transition over into the women's court. But for now, we're just the court, but looking to expand and welcome anybody who's interested in joining us in sisterhood and fellowship.
Wonderful. Very good. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yes, definitely.
You can learn more about Black Catholic History Month, the Immaculate Conception Choir, and the Knights of Peter Claver in the description below this video. Or if you're listening to the audio-only version of this episode, you can find the links in the description below your podcast player. Thank you for joining the Courier's Jubilee 2025 Pilgrims of Hope podcast. Just one episode left in our Jubilee Year 2025 podcast. Our December episode will be with a young adult who traveled to Rome for the Jubilee.